Good afternoon and welcome to our NWACA webinar series, the overview for Google Classroom. Thanks so much for joining us here on this webinar. Today, our objective is that you will get an overview of Google Classroom. We're going to look at the various features. We're going to show you how to create a class, enroll students, add items to the class stream, and more. We'll also have the ability to take a look at Google Classroom from a student's perspective, so that's going to be cool. I am your host today for this webinar, Chris Malenga. I'm an Educational Integration Specialist at NWACA. I'm a Google Certified Trainer, and I put my direct line and my contact email up there on the screen as well, so feel free to jot those down. Always don't mind people calling us and asking questions or emailing and seeing how we can help them out. I've been with NWACA since July of this past year, but I've been doing this for quite a long time. Before I got into the training game, I was teaching junior high school English language arts at Fountain City Christian School in Bryan. I do live in Bryan. I'm married to my wife, who's a 5th grade math teacher, and we have 3 wonderful children. So that's a little bit about me as we go through this webinar. Do want to show you a couple of things. First is our NWACA training website, which is training.nwaca.org. And that's your source for all the information that you might want to know about the training we do and the different materials we have. I will direct you to the page called Class Materials. And basically what we have here is a series of checklists for all of the products in the G Suite for Education. So when you click on one of those icons, you'll get the checklist. And the checklist has a bunch of tasks that somebody that's good at the software should be able to complete. The nice part about the checklist is each task is linked to a video clip that shows how to do the task. And those clips that range, they're all under 2 minutes, I think. They range from like 15-20 seconds all the way up to like a minute. And the checklist kind of help you become a more confident user of each product. And so again, all you have to do is go to training.nwaca.org, click on Class Materials, and you can get all sorts of different training information for the different G Suite products. While on this page, I'll also point out the webinars link where you will be able to look at the webinars we have coming up. We do a webinar every week for teachers, and we do have all the webinars archived as well at that webinar archive link. So again, training.nwaca.org. Go ahead and bookmark that, and it will be a great experience for you to do. We also have our weekly Tech Tips email. Happens every Tuesday, and it lets you receive some technology tips and ideas into your email inbox every Tuesday. They come out. It's a little tip usually about Google, but not always, plus a list of our webinars that are coming up, and you can get that by using that Google short link at the bottom. All right, so we're going to talk about Google Classroom today, and I love this phrase, more teaching, less teching. So Google Classroom is just a great way to help you manage your classroom and become more of a paperless classroom. It gives you more time to teach the students when you have them and less time on passing out papers and grading and things like that. So more teaching, less teching. I'm going to show you this little video about Google Classroom, and hopefully it'll bring home some of the things we're talking about in our webinar today.
I consider myself lucky to be a teacher. Whose website are you looking at now? If a teacher is collecting and handing out papers, they're not maximizing the amount of time that they're actually teaching.
You know, I have 45 minutes a day with kids, so if I can get them to do an assignment at night, I've now added time with them.
As a first-year teacher, it was rough in the beginning. The amount of paper was overwhelming.
Google Classroom is one location for all of their worksheets and handouts. It's a way for a teacher to be able to distribute projects to students. And it's a way for students to be able to turn in their work.
Everyone should have their own copy that has their name up on the top.
It gives you a little more teaching time. And who doesn't like to save time?
Everything that we need for the class is in one place.
My worksheets are there, my group work is there.
I submit it, and then it's done. I don't have to worry about losing it or forgetting to hand it in or spilling coffee on it in the morning.
Classroom really helped to organize everything, and it showed me when it was submitted, what was submitted.
You cannot stay in teaching and keep going to the old ways.
With Google Classroom, I'm able to maximize time in the classroom to bring students to that next level.
It definitely helped make me a much better teacher.
You see faculty now that are rejuvenated. Teaching becomes new again.
Very good, okay.
I love that video. I especially like the nun there. If an 86-year-old nun can do it, so can you. So we hope that you'll believe me when I say that the classroom's a great way to get things started and to better improve your teaching. So why classroom? Well, mainly classroom gives teachers more time to teach and students more time to learn. So how does that all work? Well, classroom lets you do basically three things. First, create and collect assignments. And the big feature here, the takeaway feature, is the fact that you can assign Google Docs and automatically create a copy of each doc for each student. Then students have the ability to turn in work directly from Google Docs. Second, it allows you to improve communication. So basically you can make announcements, start discussions, and you can actually comment with students in real time. And the third piece is that organizational piece. Classroom automatically organizes assignments in the Drive folders, and students can see what's due on the assignment page, so it allows them to stay organized. For teachers, here's some advantages for you. The fact that it automatically creates the Drive folders for each assignment allows both you and your students to stay organized. Creating and collecting assignments paperlessly allows you to not worry about the papers. The students aren't losing the assignments. You're not losing them. You don't have this big stack of papers to grade. You can do it all electronically. When you create an assignment, you can share a single document that all students are collaborating on, or automatically make a copy of the document for each student. So each student is working on their own document. And a really cool feature is you can see who has or hasn't completed the work. So when you open up an assignment page, you can see right away that this person hasn't completed the work. And so that's another thing that helps teachers have that advantage. You can also use Classroom to provide direct real-time feedback. So as you're grading assignments, you can provide that feedback to the students in real time. Students can see what's due both in Classroom and in their Google Calendar, so they really can stay on top of the work. You can also use Classroom to make announcements and start classroom discussions. Now, as we'll talk later on, I really believe that classroom discussion piece is more effective when you're using it in the high school scenario, maybe upper middle, but it's there for you to create that kind of information. And then you can create, review, and grade assignments quickly, all from the comfort of Google Classroom. For the students, they get one Google Drive folder for each class or teacher, and it lets them kind of keep organized within one Google Drive. It notifies students on your class stream when work is assigned and due. So when they go into their classroom, they hit that class stream and they see that work is there and it's due. And then those class materials that they use are automatically filed into folders in Google Drive for them, so no looking around for it. They can communicate with their classmates through discussions or real-time feedback if that's enabled. And it integrates with Google Calendar so that the students can see what's due on each class and plan their time accordingly. And as a parent of an 8th grader, I can tell you that Google Classroom has really kept my child organized. So I'm going to take you through some screenshot tours of Google Classroom, and hopefully we'll be able to get you in and help you to see it from a student perspective. But here is the teacher assignments page. This page lets you look at all the work you've assigned across all of your classes. So you can see all your classes there and then all the different assignments. It's really easy to get started with Google Classroom. So you log into Classroom. If it asks you if you are a teacher or a student, be sure and say teacher. Then you click your plus sign and create a class. Enter that class information, including subject and period if you want. And then you'll get a unique class code for your classroom that you share with students to get them to enroll in your classroom. And that's probably the easiest way to get students enrolled, is to give them that class code and allow them to enroll themselves. And here's a bigger shot of the classroom code. So the students get a code, they log into Classroom, and they hit the join code, put that code in there, and they will be automatically into your classroom. So one of the things you can do from your classroom stream, and I would call your stream kind of like a Facebook wall. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. And that includes all your assignments, announcements, and things like that. You can share anything with the students on the classroom stream. So there's 4 things that you can share on that classroom stream. you have the announcement and assignments, but within those tools, you can assign or share a file from your computer. So if you've got something on your physical computer that you want to upload and share, you can do that. You can share any type of document from Google Drive. So we're talking slides, sheets, docs, forms, maps. You can share a YouTube video directly without having to know the URL, or you can share any type of URL. So if you're using, for example, Quizlet or Pear Deck, you can basically share that URL from those products. You can also use Classroom to create paperless assignments. When you do that, the assignments have a due date and time if you prefer. So if you're assigning an assignment for students and you want it to be due a certain time, you can set that due date and time. And if the student completes the assignment past that time, it will basically show them as having the assignment turned in late. Again, you can share, attach those four types of files, the files from your computer, files from Drive, YouTube videos, and URLs. And the assignment appears in their calendar, both the calendar for the course as well as their own Google Calendar. And the nice part about it is when you create an assignment, you can automatically make a copy of a document for each student. So for example, if we did one called What I Did This Summer, and then we click that Make a Copy for Each Student, it will then put that assignment in their Google Drive with their last name on it or their name on it so they know it's theirs. And then when they turn it back in, they can turn it in right within Google Docs. You can see those assignments in real time. So using that What I Did This Summer, if you click that open, you can see that 9 students have got it done and 3 students have not got it done. And you can go in there, review those assignments, and then provide grades and comments to the students and return it to them. There's multiple ways for the students to see the assignments. Again, they can see them in the stream, and again, that stream is like the Facebook wall. There also is an assignments page, and then they can also see it on their calendar. Once you create that document and make a copy for each student, the student opens it up, and you can see from the screenshot on the screen, we've got the What I Did This Summer for Ben Shepard, okay? And Ben will complete that assignment, and then you'll see that blue or that turn-in button that's highlighted in blue on the screen. He would click that button, and then that assignment would automatically be turned back to you. So let's talk a little bit about document ownership in this scenario. So you assign the document to the student gets a copy, and the student is the owner of that document, the owner and editor. When the student clicks that turn in button to turn in the document, what basically happens is ownership of that document goes to you so that the student can't make changes after he submits. Now he can go on and unsubmit it, but you'd be notified by that. Then when you've graded it and returned the document, it goes back to his ownership, and he can then use the document however they want. Classroom will let you auto-organize Drive. So basically what happens is you get a Classroom folder for each of the Google Classrooms you have, and then within that folder are all the different assignments you've created. So it's a great way to keep everything organized in Google Drive and not having to find it. Google Classroom is mobile friendly, meaning you can create and grade assignments right on your mobile device, whether it be your phone or your iPad, any other tablet. And the thing is, the students also have that ability to use Google Classroom, so they can see their work and complete it right from their mobile device. So again, I go back to the quote from the good sister who says, "You cannot stay in teaching and keep going back to the old ways," and how true that definitely is. So let's get started. If you want to follow along with this, you can make a new tab in your window so that you can still hear me, but you can also work on your own. You're going to want to go to any Google product, and you want to sign into Chrome. So you know how to do that there. And then once you're there, you can use the Apps Launcher. And the Apps Launcher is that 9 square box. It's called the Apps Launcher. We call it the waffle. And then you click on the word More, and then on Classroom. If for some reason there is a small percentage of people that for some reason it doesn't show up there, you can always go to classroom.google.com and get to your classroom. Once you're there, it may ask you if you're a student or a teacher. If you are asked that question, you want to go on and say teacher. But in many districts, the admin or the IT person automatically assigns all the teachers and students as appropriate. Once you're in there, you're going to click on that plus sign to create your class. And then you're going to select Create Class. You're going to name your class and then add an optional section number. So maybe it's math and it's period 1, and you can do that. And then you click Create. And now you're on the home screen. Okay, so this is what the home screen looks like. So if you're logged in as the teacher, you would see your class and it would tell you the number of students that are in your class. So for example, on our screen right here, American Government is a class where John is the teacher because he has 4 students. Social Studies on Info, John is the student, and you can see that because his picture is there. Okay? This is the classroom stream, and again, the best analogy I can come up with is a Facebook wall. But the stream contains all the assignments and the announcements and things that are going on in your classroom. And once you're on the stream, if you want to add something to the stream, you can basically use that plus sign to do so. The students page, if you're a teacher, the page says students, that second tab over. And that was where you can see all the students you have, and you would see that class code where the students can enroll in the Google Classroom. And then you can also set whether the students can post or comment or just set it up so that they can't do any of that, but that's the students page. If you're a student in Google Classroom, that second tab is going to say classmates. And so that's where you can see all the other kids that are enrolled in Google Classroom, that particular Google Classroom. So they could comment to each other if you have that turned on. There's the About page, and this About page is great because this will give you all the information that you need for Google Classroom. It'll create the title of the classroom, the room. This is where you could see the teacher's email address. You can see the Google Drive folder for the classroom, get to the calendar. And this is also where you could put optional resources for Google Classroom. So you could put resources that you want the students to always have. So for example, a syllabus or a list of classroom rules. That can all be on the About page. And then we can create various types of assignments and announcements within Google Classroom. The first one is an announcement. And an announcement is basically information that you want to get to the students to give them any type of information. And as I said before, you can also attach either that file from your drive, the file from your computer, a YouTube, or a link. And the difference between an announcement and assignment is an announcement's not graded. So if you just want to get information out to the student, so for example, something like, can you please make sure you bring a canned good to the dance tomorrow. You could put that as an announcement. An assignment, however, is something that is graded and also has a due date. So for example, here on this one is the Brandenburg Gate speech. And here we've got watch the attached video and complete the quiz questions. And this has a due date of September 22nd. And so we've now attached a couple of different videos. We've attached a YouTube video and I guess a Google form is the second thing. And when you assign that to the students will see that and they would have to do that by September 22nd. Once the assignment is in there, you see this view if you're a teacher, and you can see how many students have it done and how many students don't have it done. And so, for example, in our Brandenburg Gate speech here, we've got 0 students done and we've got 4 students not done. The student, meanwhile, will see this assignment. They'll see the due date right on there, and then they'll be able to open the assignment and then be able to watch the video and take the quiz. The student also could add different work in there. So they could take that quiz, but they could also create something else in there, whether it's a Google Doc or a slide or a sheet. This would make things kind of open-ended for the student to be able to create something to complete that assignment. And of course, when they're done, they would click on Mark as Done. Questions are really cool because questions are just simple questions that you could post to the classroom stream. So instead of creating a full-blown assignment, I could create this question. What president was Reagan addressing when he said, "Mr. Blank, tear down this wall?" And you could put the due date in there, and you can make either a short answer or a multiple choice question right into Google Classroom. If you want, the students could reply to each other, so you could use a question as kind of a discussion starter. And you could choose whether or not to allow the students to edit the answer. So here's the teacher view of that question, and then the student view of the question. As you can see, again, with the teacher view, it could be no people done, 4 people not done. There's some contextual help for Google Classroom as well. You can open up the Chrome Web Store and search for G Suite Training. You can add that to Chrome, and when you're in Google, you could click that, and you could use that training to help you get through some of the stuff in Classroom that you might have trouble with. So now I'd like you guys to join my Google Classroom. I'm going to explain how to do that. You're going to open a new incognito window, and you're going to go to classroom.google.com and sign in with the username and password that I sent you. So open up that new incognito window, type classroom.google.com, and then you sign in with the username and password that I've created. And then when you're there, you want to go to the plus sign at the top and click Join Class. And then there's the class code that you're going to want to enter. So I'm going to give you just a second to get in there, and I'll show you what the classroom looks like when you're in there from the student perspective. Okay, hopefully you're able to get in there. Again, if you weren't, go to classroom.google.com, sign in with that username and password I sent you in the chat, and then you can go to the plus sign and join the class, and you can enter the class code, which is XFUTJBG. Okay, so let's go out of the presentation, and I'm going to head into my Google Classroom. So this is my Google Classroom webinar, and I'm on here as the teacher. So as you can see, I've already put some assignments and such inside Google Classroom. So I'm going to make this screen just a little bit bigger so everybody can see it. And then there's the 3 tabs that are across the top. So the stream, again, is like your Facebook wall. The students page lists everybody that's in the classroom. So right now there's 4 people in there: Barney Rubble, Donald Duck, Fred Flintstone, and Mickey Mouse. And then the About page is where I can set up the different information about the page. I can invite teachers. You can add class materials and do things right there. So that is the ability to see the About page. Okay, so over on the left-hand side, it would show us any work that's due. It would show any topics. And so what topics are ways to organize your thoughts as a teacher. So maybe you have topics for different sections you're doing. So if you're doing something on World War II or the Civil War, you might make that a topic. Or you could do a topic that would be something like test or quiz or things like that. So in here, I already have 3 assignments. I've got a question type assignment. I've got a announcement type assignment, and I've got an actual assignment that has a due date. So the first thing I want you to go ahead and do is I want you to go ahead and answer the what book should we read next question. So I have currently 1 person on that is going to be under the Barney Rubble account. And so let's go ahead and see if Barney can answer that question as to which book we should read next. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the assignment. You'll see my page just changed to 1 done. Okay, and so now we can see that Barney Rubble has gotten the assignment done, and there's still 3 people that have not completed the assignment: Donald Duck, Fred Flintstone, and Mickey Mouse. As people go ahead and answer the question, you'll see a graph here that'll change. Okay, and so what I can do now that Barney's answered it is I could add a grade and return this to him. Okay, this is more of an opinion topic, so I might come up here and say that this is ungraded, and now the students wouldn't need a grade in here, but I could return it as just accepting that they completed the problem. And then I could go ahead in here and I could make a private comment to Barney. So I could say something like, "Thanks for your feedback." And then when I hit return, it'll be returned to him. Okay. Now if I go back to my student stream, I can still see that 1 done and 3 not done. The second thing down here is basically an announcement. An announcement is just that I want the students to study their vocab for the week, and the test is going to be on Friday. So if I open up this Quizlet, this will actually open up in Quizlet, and this is a set of 8th grade vocabulary for Chapter 5. And so the student could come on here and they could see it as flashcards. They could work on play the games, the match and gravity games, and everything like that. And they basically don't have to do anything else to interact with that. There's not a due date. There's nothing there that they need to do. So that's just something that they would see. That's an announcement for informational purposes. The third thing on here is a short story assignment. And so what this is this is an actual assignment that has each student getting a copy. And so I'm going to show this one from my another account. I'm going to open an incognito window, and I'm going to go into Classroom. Oops. I'm going to sign in as Fred Flintstone. And now I'm in the classroom from the other side. So here it is. And now I see that I'm late on this assignment because I had set these up to be due at different times. So I could go ahead in here and I could submit this assignment. But here's the short story assignment. So if I click this open button, what's going to happen is the assignment will actually open, and I've got an assignment, a file here that the teacher has created, and I've got a copy of it as Fred Flintstone. So if I open this assignment up, I could go on here and it says, please write a short story about one of your favorite vacations. When you're finished, be sure you turn it into Classroom. So I'm going to quickly create a short story here. My favorite family vacation is when we went to Myrtle or to Virginia Beach. It was awesome because my entire family was with me. Okay, so that's a short assignment. So now I can come up to the top here and I see this turn in button. When I'm done with the assignment, I click turn in. And now I will see that the assignment has been turned in. Okay, I'm going to hit that turn in button. And now the teacher will see that I get the assignment. So I'm going to head back out to my other window and I'm going to log in as me. And now you can see that 2 assignments have been turned in here for the short story. I can see that they were done, and because I created these assignments a long time ago, they're going to show up as late, but I could go in and look at Barney Rebels. Okay, and he just started it. And then I could go into Fred's, and I could see the assignment. And now I can go in and I can grade the assignment. So I can give, this is out of 100 points, but I could change this. I can make it like 25 points, for example. And so I could give Fred Flintstone 24. I could give Barney Rubble a 25. And then when I'm done, I could return this to the students and I could give a comment to them saying, nice job. I return it, and now the students have the new files and they're graded within Google Classroom. So that's kind of how the whole process works for Google Classroom, being able to create assignments and get the assignments back from your students. Okay, so let me walk through creating another assignment so you can see how this all works. If I come up here to this plus sign while I'm in the stream, and I can create an announcement, an assignment, or a question, or I can even reuse a post, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment. And the nice part about it is when I create an assignment, I can assign it to all students, or I can click on this all students and I can assign it to a group of students. So maybe Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck need an extra assignment. So I can assign it to only those 2 students. So let's call this essay question or essay assignment. I'm going to say, please complete the essay And then I can set a due date. So we could do a due date of, let's make it tomorrow. And then right here, I can either attach something from my computer, something from Google Drive, a YouTube video, or a link. I'm going to use a Google Drive. I'm going to go into my Drive, and here's vacation assignment. So let's assign it to them. And now I have some options here. Students can view the file, which means they can view it only. So if you're sending them something you don't want them to edit, they can view it. They can edit the file, which means all the students are editing one file, or we can make a copy for each student. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy for each student. And then if I hit the blue assign button, that would actually assign them the assignment. Or I can click the drop down arrow and I can schedule this. So if I don't want it to pop up until a certain point in the class or later on tonight, I can schedule it for a period of time. So if I did schedule, I can choose when it shows up. Or I can make it a draft, and in which case that would just be up in the top and I would have to physically assign that when I'm ready. So the great thing about Classroom is you can work on your own time. You can set stuff to schedule up, or you can do drafts, but you can work ahead. Please note that if you use the assign feature right here, the students will immediately get that assignment. So if you don't want the students to have the assignment before class, for example, make sure you schedule it or you save it as a draft and do it later. Once you hit this assign, this goes right to the students. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now, once it's assigned, you will see I've got 2 people that aren't done yet because they just got the assignment. I assigned it to 2 students. If I create an announcement, I can go out here and I can just say, please remember to study your flashcards. And then I can post that, and now that's an announcement. And then I can create a question. Did you enjoy the book we read? Why or why not? And now I've got this assignment on here for all students. I don't want them to be able to reply. I set it up as a short answer, and now I can ask. And now the students would be able to comment on, did you enjoy the book we read? And again, I assign it to all students, so there's 4 there. Okay. From the students page, I'll point out a couple of different things here. Here, we can see all of our students. We can email all of our students right here. We can remove students, or we can mute students. Muting students is if you're allowing students to post and comment, which is something I would not recommend you do. I would only allow them to comment, or teachers can post or comment. Kind of depends on how you want to do that. But you can set that up how you want it to be, whether they can post and comment, or the students can only comment, or only the teachers can post or comment. And then we can also add guardians. So the guardian summaries are really cool because if we put a guardian in there, we can go ahead and invite a person to be Barney's guardian. So if, for example, Betty is his, we can invite Betty Rebel to be his guardian. When the student's guardian joins, they will get guardian email summaries, and they can choose to get these daily or weekly. This is what the summary looks like. It shows the work that was missing from the previous week, work that's due the next week, and then all class activity. And so the nice part about it is once Barney is a student, has a guardian here in my class, any class that Barney's in, the guardian would be able to do that. And here we could turn this class off for guardian email summaries. I will show you one more quick feature, and that's the About page. And here I can put all sorts of information about the page, or I can add class materials. So for example, if I have a link to a video I want the students to watch, we can go ahead and search in here. So let's do Google Classroom Intro. Here's the one I want to use. I want to hit Add. And now this is always here on my Classroom page, and they can always refer back to it on my About page. Here under the Invite Teachers section, I can go ahead and invite other teachers that might be co-teachers. So this would be great for like if I have an intervention specialist that I want to use. Here I can select a theme and upload a photo to change the theme of my classroom. And up here I can get back to all my other classes as well as my calendar and the work that the students have to grade. So here's all my assignments across the entire Google Classroom section. So that's a real brief overview of Google Classroom. The best thing to do is to get out and try it, and you'll be able to see the power that there is. So we're about out of time today. So before we go, I just want to go ahead and show you a couple last slides. First off, we are here to help. I've put my email address and my phone number here. Feel free to email or call us with help for your issue. If you have a group of teachers that you can get together for a NWACA resource visit, we'd love to do that. On a resource visit, we come to your school and we help you out on a specific topic and help you through something. You can also come to a free NWACA Google Educators Group event. We just had one in Perrysburg earlier this month, and I know we've got one coming up in Bryan in August. So we encourage you to come to those free events. It's great training at no cost to you. You can also sign up for our Tuesday Tech Tips weekly email. I showed that link earlier, but I'm going to show it on the next slide as well. Our training website, of course, for more information, including our tutorial videos. And every week we're holding another NWACA webinar, so please join us for a future webinar and help yourself out to some free professional development there. I thank you all for attending our session today. Here are some links that you can use. First, to get involved with our Google Educators Group. You can also get a copy of the presentation by clicking the link or sign up for our Tuesday Tech Tips. I'll leave this up here and I'll stay on the line for just a little bit. If anybody has any questions, they can feel free to ask the questions. And thank you so much for joining us on this NWACA webinar series for Google Classroom.